What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Danny Cole, DCU Penn's finest, Chris Coacher, CB Coacher Boy. We got another great episode for you guys today. We will be going over each NFC Super Bowl / playoff contenders X-Factor. Pretty much as simple as it is. This team can either make or break their Super Bowl aspirations. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just kind of means, like, teams relying on them a little bit. It doesn't necessarily mean they've been bad to this point and they need to step it up, or it could mean that. But nonetheless, and after that, we'll, of course, get into the hots and locks. If you missed how we did last week, go check out last episode. We just did a week 14 recap, so it is still evergreen if you're seeing this on Thursday or later. But, of course, before we get into that, I want to remind you guys, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you turn on those post notifications. Don't miss a single upload. And if you're listening to this on audio platforms, leave a like, 5-star review, comment if you can on your platform, and download if you really enjoyed it. But, of course, we can't get any episode started without Summits and Plummets.
And as you may mention, I am wearing Steelers gear this week, and that's what it means. It's rivalry week. We bring out the terrible towel.
You keep bringing up this rivalry week thing.
It's Battle of PA. We got the terrible towel. We're bringing it out. We're flooding the link with all that yellow. It's going to be taking over the link.
Oh, I'm so sure.
For sure.
Yeah, right.
It's happening.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. Name one team that's taken over the link ever.
The Steelers tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay, yep. All Steelers fans, go to the link tomorrow. Games tomorrow. Go to the game tomorrow. Yep. For sure.
But anyway, it's beautiful. I think the Battle of PA. I think it's funny that Tomlin's kind of buying into the Battle of PA.
He called it the state championship, bro. I'm crying. You know what? St. Joe's Prep, as the best high school team in PA, you deserve to play the Steelers or Eagles.
Yo, you know how they have like
real state championship.
You know how they have games in Europe.
Yeah,
and like they should start having games in like rivalry games in college stadiums. Eagles, Steelers in Penn State.
That is so unbelievably cheating.
That would be
way closer to Pittsburgh. No, why not do it at Temple Stadium?
No. Temple Stadium?
Yeah.
Dude,
the Eagles play at Temple Stadium. So yeah, it's
Pittsburgh's not Pittsburgh is like 2.5 hours from Penn State. Penn State's like 3.5 from here. It's not that bad.
So who's closer?
It's not substantial.
It's an hour. Regardless, we would probably have to find something a little different. I mean, I guess
Harrisburg.
I guess Happy Valley could work, or we could play at Hershey.
Hershey. Oh my god.
Hershey. We could do it. Let's make it happen.
But yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Not a bad idea. It's just like the instances are like really rare. Like Rams Chargers, like, okay, they could play at the Coliseum, or they could play at the Rose Bowl. That would be dope. That would be dope.
I just think like having
Giants
one-off like Winter Classic-esque games.
I definitely see what you mean. Or even like, I guess technically the Bengals and Browns could do it twice. They could go play at the Horseshoe. I don't know.
The Browns don't want to play there in Cleveland anyway. So
yeah, and then I don't necessarily know where like Jets and Giants would play.
They're playing in Columbia.
Do Rutgers doesn't play in MetLife, right?
Nah, Rutgers is their own stadium.
Bang, play there.
In New Brunswick. It's about 20 minutes outside, but yeah.
Bang. They run it up there. It's not bad. Yeah. It's not bad. I mean, that's kind of a cool idea, though. That would be really cool.
NFL, Steelers, that is my
Steelers
pitch.
In Happy Valley.
Sponsored the podcast. We'll bring the Eagles, Steelers, Happy Valley. We'll fly Chris up. We'll have him cover the game.
Are we watching the Sideline Summit Bowl or the Pop-Tart Bowl?
Ironically enough, actually that's my second summit. Miami. I was down in Miami. I just got back, and I played NCAA while I was there, and I was like, "Yo, AJ, I'm gonna play NCAA. I'll be Miami." And he picked Penn State, and I was like, "Yo, you ever heard of the Pop-Tart Bowl?" He's like, "What's that?" and this is before the bowl game was like announced. I was like, "Yo, we're gonna play in the Pop-Tart Bowl because they have the bowl games." And he saw them get selected for the Pop-Tart Bowl. He's like, "There's no way."
dude. Honestly, people are like, "Oh, everybody gets a bowl game or anything called a bowl game," but now the Pop-Tart Bowl is iconic. Now it's just iconic. Everybody gets a piece of this giant Pop-Tart. Like, come on.
So last year, the Pop-Tart went in the toaster. It came out done.
Who won the Pop-Tart Bowl last year? Was it BYU?
I forget who, but it was pretty.
I want to say it was either BYU or Kansas State, and that's like a wild in between, but nonetheless, great summits over there, all bowl related, all Pennsylvania State related. Chris, we can swing it on over to you though.
I had a lot of sad things going on.
No, you dropped 27, 8, and 9 in a playoff game.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually a very happy camper right now. Yes, we did win our men's league game. We move on to the technical conference finals. So that's a summit. But on the other half of this summit, when I pulled up to the game, we had the 8 o'clock game. I saw in the 7 o'clock game that the team has been beating our ass in the championship the last 3 games. I mean, last three like cycles of the league, they lost to a team we beat by 15. Now, I'm not saying we're going to beat the same team by 15, but what I am saying is we do have a chance now because for some reason that team had our number. I will say that. So double summit there. Do I have a plummet? No, I'll say the other summit. I think I told y'all in the chat already. But yes, we adopted a family and we were able to drop off the gifts to like the shelter there, and it was really cool to see Jess. We didn't get a chance to see the family obviously, but the best part for me was being able to go in there and kind of drop our gifts off and then see that other people had gave a lot of gifts. Like, it was so many Amazon boxes, so many boxes filled for other families, and it was just cool to see because like I said to Danny and Tony in the chat, it's always good to give back, but it's also good to see other people, having that same thing, so more people can enjoy their holiday who are kind of going through things more than us. So that was probably all the things, and like I said, it's holiday season, so I'm trying to keep it merry. But that was really cool to be able to just be a part of helping someone feel better over the holidays.
Yeah, I can really resonate with that. We worked at a toy drive today.
Y'all did a toy drive.
No, nice. we worked at it. We
okay.
This place called Homefront. So we volunteered there. We packed up a bunch of like boxes and toys and pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. If you're doing that again, if you happen to do that again, which you're probably not, but if you are and you see a toy like Goku, put it to the side, bro. I promise you, I need it more than that kid.
I saw a toy Goku today.
Of course you did, because he is an icon. He is the moment, and he's an absolute legend.
I'm surprised there's not a toy LeBron yet.
No, it's not a toy, but they're Funko Pop LeBrons for sure.
I have a Funko Pop Trunks.
Hell yeah, man. That's I saw this girl made a tweet. Is like, if my man's acting up, I'm gonna sleep with someone he looks up to. They're like, you can't sleep with Goku, bro.
Yeah, bro. I seen some crazy ones in that, bro. I seen some.
I know you saw the Kobe one. I know you saw.
Oh my god, bro!
That was crazy.
Scary movie video. Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro.
I laughed at that a crazy amount of times. I'm crazy. My bad.
Yeah, no, that was pretty sick. So I guess my summit is Jimmy Butler is on the trade block, I guess you can say. And
the summit.
I'm actually gonna go with a plummet. Because I tweeted this out. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I was like, I just need him to stay. We got to kick his ass one more time.
You said, what I'm asking for is, could you please give me one more day?
Can he give me one more? Can he give me one more playoff run, man? Give me one more Cinderella run where we can meet you all in the conference finals just so we can sweep you.
This time you'll have to meet him in the finals. You'll have to beat old friend the Warriors. How would that sound?
I don't know. The get back might be too good for my system. I might levitate. If we smoke Curry and Butler, hit 2 birds, 1 stone. Oh my god. Tatum gets the Finals MVP. Oh my god, it'll be great. It'll be great.
I know we're living in fantasy world, but the Warriors aren't winning anything.
Yeah, Buddy Hield had his 10 games of shine, so I'm not exactly
sure.
But
Jonathan Kuminga, you are a Sixer.
How's that happening?
They can have the Clippers pick.
The Clippers, you got to match money. You got match money. That's the thing with these Sixers trades, bro. Is that
KJ Martin.
anyone who even has an extension, you gotta send Paul George.
Kenyon Martin Jr.
I'm so sure that's gonna get you like slapped in the face.
We're gonna get Kevon Looney.
That's crazy. But I guess it's a plummet because Jimmy Butler is for I guess all intents and purposes like was the main rival to the Celtics over the past couple of seasons. And for us to beat them 4-1 without him, it's kind of like how can I put this? No one would understand, but to any anime fans watching, it would be like the scene where Pai Bara saw Yusuke die, and he was like, "You can't die yet. I'm supposed to you have to fight me first," or whatever it was. But that's pretty much how it feels though. But Summit though, I guess sticking with the league, my guy and Chris's guy is snatching the chain of Danny's guy. The league, the NBA Twitter is doing a good 360 on Luka Doncic right now. And not to say I'm hating on a downfall or anything, because the past few seasons he's been truly incredible and probably one of the top 4 players in basketball. Like, and at points he was looking like, there were points where I guess you could entertain a him and Jokic conversation, but very briefly, and that conversation would end fast. But he got his chain snatched last night in a NBA Cup game. Now we're looking at Bucks Thunder for the second annual NBA Cup.
And the NBA Cup matters now, like for giving people where they rank in the NBA.
No, Luka just
but shooting like 3 for $1 million and scoring 8 points does.
I agree with that. I can get down with that.
I wouldn't even say that, y'all. I think my main problem with Luka yesterday was just try harder, and not try harder to mean shoot more. Like, it's obvious what they're doing to you. Don't let them play 4-on-3. 4-on-3 for y'all is a disadvantage. The Thunder want you to do that. They want Lively and Gafford making decisions instead of you or Kyrie. Yeah. You're letting that happen by just after you get trapped, passing the ball and just sitting there. You're too good for that. They need you too much for that.
I would love to see Derek Lively make decisions.
Exactly. And Mark Dagno was like, yeah, please keep catching the short roll and trying to kick it to the corner and throwing out of bounds. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
he might have the worst bag.
Not to say the NBA Cup is also playoff atmosphere. I mean, the fans really get into it. And possessions do get slim, just ever so slightly. But this just kind of shows me I would have loved to see a world of that OKC Dallas series this past season without Josh Giddey touching the floor whatsoever. Like, the unbelievable detriment that he is to that basketball team, or at least that he was to that basketball team. Granted, they do have iHeart now, but they also don't have Chet. So, I don't know. Shea was just utterly spectacular. And, of course, head-to-head it's not the end-all, be-all. This doesn't mean, like, oh, Shea's absolutely better than Luka now, at least the season he's been. But I saw a tweet by this guy I follow named Carson, great follow on Nerd Sesh. He was like, this was like a rare superstar to superstar ass kicking. It was on the level of like what Embiid does to Jokic sometimes, or what Tatum does to Embiid sometimes, and vice versa. It was really special to watch, and I'm just glad that SGA is the stats might not show it, but he seemingly just made another leap. He's even more efficient. He's not scared to shoot the 3 ball. He's as good as ever around the rim. So shout out to that boy. He's doing his thing for sure. But we can get into on every single episode, you will see me wearing some kind of hat, whether it's a snapback, whether it's a dad style hat. I always got to have something to complete the outfit. And the only place where I get my hats is lids.com. Lids.com has so many different brands, and of course they have a bunch of different styles. Like I just said, it could be dad hat, snapback, it could be fitted, it could be Velcro back. Whatever you want, they got it. And with the NFL season coming up, I know you're going to want to rock and represent your favorite squad. Me personally, I'm a big Eagles guy, and I love this 47 brand throwback hat that I got from lids.com. Or if you're more of a snapback guy, I also got this NBA champions Boston Celtics new era cap from lids.com as well. If you like either of those hats and you feel like you want one to represent your squad, click the link in the description below. Whether it's New Era or 47, both links will take you right to lids.com. And the best thing about Lids, they always have some type of deal going on their website. So make sure you click that link and check out any deals they got going on at lids.com. Mainstay of this episode, and that is our NFC X-Factors. Again, the way this works is it doesn't necessarily, this team, well, I guess it does work this way. This player, it could be a coordinator, it could be a player, a unit, a head coach, whatever it may be. That this could make or break this team getting into the playoffs or winning the Super Bowl, or it could be more like, oh, if this player, like this team could probably win the Super Bowl or they could probably make the playoffs, but if this player or this unit turns it up, oh, they should be favorites. They're probably going to cruise to a championship. We'll put it that way. And we're going to go by division. So we'll start up north where they have the 3 heavy hitters. I guess depending on the team, you can kind of guess what we're going for, whether they're playoff contenders or Super Bowl contenders, as we already kind of discussed the tiers. But we can start with the Lions. They're the 1 seed. They're sitting nice and pretty up top. I do want to start with Danny. What do you think the X factor is for the Detroit Lions, winning or not winning a Super Bowl?
It's going to sound crazy. Jared Goff's not the X factor. Their X factor is consistent run game. It's something they've have all year. The way to win in the playoffs, unless you have Patrick Mahomes, unless you have Josh Allen, is to rely on your run game, keep the ball out of your opponent's hands, and minimize times where your opponent can be in your red zone off a turnover. Minimize times where you're fumbling. So Ken Gibbs, Ken Montgomery, can these guys thrive and throttle down long drives in the playoffs? We see it happen in the regular season, but can they dominate a playoff D-line? I think we need to see it.
Yeah, and I'm not more so surprised you took this route, but a lot of people will kind of look at Gibbs and Montgomery as like, oh, they're 2 of the best players. How could they possibly be the X factor? But when schemed around, it can get harder to run the ball. So I really do like that pick. Obviously, running the ball is a big aspect of playoff football. So having them 2 could be.
I'd argue that it's like the entire aspect. Even the Chiefs, they've had Pacheco, they've had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they've had really solid running back play. Like they've had Damian Williams in the Super Bowl, who broke off probably the most fugazi run of all time.
he went crazy.
Like you need a running back to play well, and I just think that is their X factor, especially when you have guys like that.
Yeah, Chris, did you want to go next with your X factor for the Lions?
Yeah. I have so I agree with Danny's point. I think the running game is one of the X factors, but I don't think it is the X factor only because I think they will do it. So I think on my end, it's the receiving core. Now, I think Amon-Ra and J-Mo, I think they're really, really good. Tim Patrick had big plays, Laporta's had big plays, but I think them complementing what I would foresee the run game being, I think that's going to be the most important part because I think Goff has done a good job of getting everyone the ball, but I think that's going to be one of the bigger things because, like I said, I don't know if you can even fall in love with running the ball too much, but I think keeping the receivers and keeping the passing game up and involved is going to be a huge deal in the playoffs because I think people are going to zero in on the run so much because they've done it so well this year. So that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing how their receiving core, including Laporta, just does with the playoffs. Because, like I said, like Danny said, a lot of times it's run heavy, which I'm sure the Lions will be because that's what they have been. But when it comes to the passing game, I think if the passing game can even do 80% of what the running game is going to do as far as consistency from how I see it, I think they can not cruise the Super Bowl, but I think they have a path to go there.
I love that choice because that's my same exact one. I wrote down specifically J-Mo and Tim Patrick, but it also falls on Laporta. And it could fall on Amon-Ra, but as good of a year as Montgomery and Gibbs have had, I believe Amon-Ra is still the best player on this team. So I think when teams start to buckle down on your biggest weapon, someone's got to step up. And yeah, it's going to come like Laporta hasn't had the second year that we thought he would. He's been great, but hasn't exactly had that kind of year. Tim Patrick just had a pretty big game, and J-Mo's been, doing his thing all year. So I think they're going to run the ball well, but you can't run it forever, especially against Philadelphia, who manages to put up 30 points a game, and we're having like T.O. McNabb reincarnation arguments for no reason. Danny, did you have anything to say on the idea of the receiving core being the X factor, or did we want to scooch on over to the next team?
Yeah, I think they could be an X factor, just because they have potential to be great, right? They have JMO, they have Amon-Ra. Where I don't like them is they have potential to be duds as well, because of Jared Goff could just have a bad game. He's limited. We know that Goff is limited. We know he's pretty consistent, but he's limited. So that's where I think the receiving core could become limited by themselves.
Yeah, and this prime example of like me and Chris probably picked like they could compete anyway without them stepping up big time, but like if they did, they're cakewalking. Whereas you picked one where it's like if Gibbs and Montgomery do not show up, it is over.
Yeah.
So I definitely like both answers for sure. I think this next team is going to be a lot more interesting though. It's the Minnesota Vikings. I guess I can go first on this one. It's a pretty basic one, but it's going to be Sam Darnold. I expect this defense to show up, especially with Brian Flores. It's talented. Obviously, they have some of the best. They have the best wide receiver in the league. Jordan Addison has started to, put pieces together. TJ Hawkinson starting to get back into the flow of things after 5 games. And Aaron Jones has been good when he's on the field. Sam Darnold, it's going to be a matter – the playoffs, they're going to throw everything they have at you. It's a matter of reading the field fast and getting the ball out of your hands, because the longer he holds the ball, the more prone he is to end up making a bad decision.
He gets hurt. Daniel Jones, Nick Foles run. You heard it here first.
Who do you think they're letting get a crack at the sticks first, him or Nick Mullins?
Daniel Jones.
I mean, Nick Mullins proved he could get the ball to Justin Jefferson, and to win a football game, that's a pretty solid recipe.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could pull them to maybe load the box a little more if Sam Darnold got hurt, but it's not. Danny was obviously just throwing something out there, but his
I was
health.
joking.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, it's not necessarily. It's obviously not his health. I'm just worried about how is your decision making going to look when a team's got a boatload of film on you and it's the playoffs. Especially considering that first game you're probably going to be on the road, which sucks. They're probably going to be like 14-3, 13-4, and they don't even get a home playoff game. That's absolutely detrimental. But they could see Atlanta again. They could see them again, and that would probably work in their favor. Hard to beat a team twice, but I'm confident they could. But I have Sam Darnold. I would say Sam Darnold specifically on the season is 9th in adjusted EPA, and then this little win streak. They had that like middle of the season, like, okay, like they're clearly fake. Now they're kind of back on that trajectory. He's back. He's 6th in adjusted EPA per play during their latest win streak. So, yeah, that's what I have for the Vikings. I can swing it on over to whoever wants the floor, whoever has their answer, or whoever wants to share first.
I got my answer.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Danny.
My answer is Jordan Addison. We saw it this week. He had 3 touchdowns.
I was considering that one.
We know what Justin Jefferson is. Can Jordan Addison be this elite wide receiver 2 consistently? If he can, he easily will elevate Sam Darnold to be a solid quarterback. And when you have guys that are averaging 3-4 yards of separation, it's pretty easy as a quarterback. So I think having a guy like that, letting Hawkinson, elite tight end, worked underneath, coming off ACL surgery, I think if you have that, they're going to be a hard team to beat in the playoffs, especially with how good of defense they play. And this year, it reminds you a little bit of 2017.
What if everything just reminds you of 2017? What if every Super Bowl team from here on out is you're just the Philadelphia Eagles from 2017?
No, not the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm talking about how.
That Vikings. I kind of forget. That is what was so weird about that Vikings team is like Case Keenum wasn't the starter all year. I'm pretty sure like Sam Bradford played like a good handful of games. Yeah, that was a weird team. That was a very weird team.
Let's talk about how a backup quarterback played pretty good in the time that he played. Darnold, backup quarterback, brought in as backup at least.
Yeah.
And like it's crazy. I don't know. Good defense. Eagles are pretty decent. I don't know. I'm getting weird vibes.
Well,
I'll say.
I don't know if the Eagles would tear that defense to shred or this Vikings defense to shred.
Not 38-7.
It's possible
No
if
way.
Kellen Moore's on his best behavior, but
No shot. They win 38-7.
yeah, I don't know about that. We don't have a single. No, we don't have a single dude who could hold Justin Jefferson. I love Quinion, but holding
Slay did.
holding the hell is. I'm telling you, like he Jefferson had him beat on some plays, and Kirk was just that bad that day. But nonetheless, it will forever go down as Darius Slay had his number that day. The next time they played, though, Justin Jefferson had like 200 yards. So, yeah. Well, we can move to Chris. Who do you believe is the X factor for the Minnesota Vikings to win a Super Bowl?
I think the X factor is TJ Hawkinson. And the reason why is I think if it's something you try to take away in the playoffs against the Vikings, it's got to be them beating you over the head with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson any old type of way they can, whether it's over the top, over the middle, whatever the case may be. I think that'd be the thing you try to take away. So I think that will open up more for TJ Hawkinson. And I think if he can be quote unquote wide receiver 2 in that sense, like, okay, Judge is the first one, but Hawkinson maybe is the guy, and you just lose Jordan Addison for the explosive. I think that could open up even more of the Vikings offense for the playoffs. Like I said, I think they're going to run the ball well with Aaron Jones, or at least, attempt to. But if the running game isn't as viable or any of that, I think Hawkinson would be like the good scapegoat in that sense for both ways. Like I said, if they can't get it down the field, you try to get to him. In the run game, you do short passes. I think Hawkinson is going to be a big factor. And like Danny said, come off an ACL, I think he looks close enough, back to not 100%, I would say, but I think he looks pretty good. And I think if he can, be what we saw him be before pre-ACL, or at least, close to it, I think that elevates this Vikings team crazy.
Yeah, absolutely great. I mean, you guys kind of have the same idea there. Jefferson's going to do his thing, and he's going to get extra attention, so it opens up opportunities for these guys. And also, if these guys can force the defense to have to spread out, cover all sorts of the field. I mean, we have Aaron Jones in the backfield, who, when healthy, has absolutely contributed very well. So, yeah, the Vikings, I mean, the more, especially over this 5-game win streak, and really the last couple games, I'm starting to feel very confident in them as real Super Bowl contenders. I know Sam Darnold isn't the hottest name on paper, but when you look at the numbers and you look at, when he's playing aggressive and getting the ball out of his hands fast, this is a really good offense. The defense might lack some names at certain positions, but at this point, I really don't care. Brian Flores has shown me that he can go out there, he'll roll with anybody, and his guys will make plays when need be. So, yeah, I really like the idea of any of these guys if they can step up. They'll be contenders. We can keep with Chris, though. Moving on to the Packers, the last team from the NFC North. Who is the X factor for Green Bay? And I feel like we almost touched on this last couple episodes on what can make or break a Packers Super Bowl.
Jordan Love, to me, is the X factor. He has to be consistent. And in the sense of, I think Jacobs is going to do his thing if as much as allowed to, but I think it's going to fall on Love. Just most time it falls on quarterbacks just at the end of the day. And I think Love has to be the best version of himself for this Packers team to be able to compete with the likes of Eagles, Lions. I think they can get a first round win because if they're not playing Eagles, Lions, but he has to be on top of his game to be able to beat the upper echelon of the NFC. So I think I'd put it on Love, like I said, because I think and I think one of y'all said it. The Packers defense has only gotten better week by week. It feels like even when they have bad games, I think it's only gotten better. So I think if that continues on that trajectory, I think the defense will be just fine. So I'll say Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is a lot's going to fall on his shoulders, obviously. So I think he has to be the best player on the field for the Packers for them to be able to compete with the Lions, Eagles type of thing.
Yeah, I could get behind that. We saw it in the playoffs last year when they beat the Cowboys. We saw how close they came to beating the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, they had the game won. They're going on a game-winning drive. Jordan Love activates bozo mode for 1 second. Game's over. So it can be critical.
He activated inner Brett Favre.
Yeah, he actually has a real-life angel and devil on his shoulder, and it's actually he has a devil and a devil on his shoulder. It's Rodgers and Favre, and then he has one angel, and it's going to be Bart Starr. on top of his head. Rest in peace to a legend, man. Bart Starr. Okay, this is entirely off topic. Bart Starr used to sling that thing. I'm not gonna lie. He used to deliver the pill all across the field. He was great. Of course, the numbers will never show it because he was out there throwing like a rugby ball. But nah, shout out to him. Danny, did you want to go next, or did you want me to go first?
Yeah, I can take it.
Go ahead.
I think my clear and far away. Something that the Packers have lost has made them lose playoff games in the past. You're gonna be like, what? LaFleur. I think LaFleur is the true X factor of this team. This team only goes as far as the coach. And we saw that with the Rodgers. We saw it because of his decision making. They lost a game against the Bucs. Can he learn from his mistakes? Can he look? With Rodgers, he lost because of his own decisions. With Love made a bad decision. Can you put them both together and meet in the middle and go forward?
Yeah, I think that's entirely fair. Because LaFleur, as great as the offensive mastermind he is, we know that. He's had some game managing follies. It's definitely happened. He gets himself in those situations. So I think that's completely fair, if you ask me. I guess I can go with mine. Mine is going to be the pass rushing unit of the Packers.
I like that.
Yeah, they are 11th in defensive dropback EPA. But they're actually only 15th in sack percentage. So you kind of look at it like that's more of like the EPA is more like a secondary stat instead of an actual pass rush stat. I'm pretty sure Rashawn Gary has one recorded sack on the year. I think two if you consider the one where he just like ran by Lane Johnson, but they didn't give that sack against Lane Johnson. So I have no idea. But it just needs to step up a little bit. In the playoffs, you're going to have to be able to get home with four guys. Especially against like teams that are elite through the pass: Eagles, Vikings, Packers, Lions. I said Packers, but they ain't watching their own team. Yeah,
could be.
But the point is I want to see more out of this group. They just need to cause more havoc. They need to make these quarterbacks a little bit more uncomfortable. Jared Goff had all day when they were throwing. Like that's not okay because Jared Goff, he is limited once you pressure him. But if you don't pressure him, there's not a lot of things he can't do. I mean, there's not a lot of throws he can't make if he's got a clean pocket. You can say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but Goff especially, he's gonna tear you to shreds. Like respectfully, if you don't get pressure on him. Jalen Hurts, if you don't get pressure on him, AJ is going to be down there somewhere. He's going to tear you to shreds too. So,
recently he's not looking his way. We don't know why, but
I'll get into that in a moment. Actually, my X factor for them is something related to that. But yeah, I think we all have pretty solid ones. I think quarterback is obviously a guy you can look at, especially a guy as polarizing as Jordan Love can be. Pass rush is obviously a must need in the playoffs. You're not getting to quarterbacks who plan on dinking and dunking, getting the ball out fast. You're in for a bad one, and of course, the head coach is always a safe bet. Moving on to the South, these ones, the Bucs could be a little bit of both a Super Bowl contender, like a low end Super Bowl contender, or playoff contender. And we also have the Falcons in this group. We can start with the Bucs though. Me personally, I had it on the back of two different people. I had Sterling Shepard and Jalen McMillan. These guys are obviously the two. No one's asking you guys to be Chris Godwin. Since Chris Godwin has went down, though, they're still 8th. The Bucs are 8th in dropback EPA on offense. The offensive attack is still great. I was thinking about maybe Baker Mayfield here because I talked about it on the last episode, or just for a little bit. I was like, he needs to like just chill. Like he needs to. Not everything has to be downfield. But that's just kind of how like Baker's going to be. I guess to an extent, that's kind of like how Jordan Love's going to be. But we also have seen him play like the cleanest football ever while being an aggressive quarterback. Baker, it's kind of a little bit of, if he's going to be aggressive, he's going to turn the ball over a little bit. That's just what he'll be. But if Sterling Shepard, who had a decent game against Las Vegas, and Jalen McMillan, who has shown some really good signs, I think they could put together a couple wins if they can step up. Mike Evans, he came back and he looks like he's headhunting for 1,000 yards again. Cade Ian is one of my favorite tight ends in the NFL. He's been really good. And seemingly Bucky Irving is getting better every single week to go alongside Rachaad White. So I think if those two guys specifically can merge to make a really good wide receiver 2 out of, two different players, Chris Godwin's not an easy. He's not an easy fill. That guy is wide receiver 1 material on a lot of different teams. But if those two guys can just emulate a wide receiver 2 combined, I think the Bucs could definitely play some spoiler. First game, they're most likely going to win the division. They're going to be home playoff game. But you get to the divisional round, say you get a rematch with Detroit, things don't got to go down the same way if certain guys show up. So that's my that's going to be my X factor for Tampa Bay. Yeah. Floor's open
Chris, you
to
still
whoever
thinking?
wants the next, or if you had any comments.
Mine's clear. Just the person who's kept them within every single game, despite Mike Evans being out, despite Chris. It's Baker Mayfield. This guy has grit. He slings the ball. He's reminiscent of his rookie self. Honestly, like he looks really, really comfortable. This is what was advertised when he was a number 1 overall pick. So I think he's everything he's advertised. So if Baker Mayfield can distribute the ball to his weapons, if he can use K-Dot, if he can use all the weapons, the sky is the limit. And we saw that last year.
Yeah. Again, like Baker, like that easily could be an X factor. I just personally was kind of like, this is just what Baker does. I'm just gonna have to live with it at this point. Because they don't always win games when he turns the ball over. I think they pulled up a stat in the Bucs Raiders game where it's like when he throws 2 picks, they're like so cooked. So it probably wouldn't slide against a playoff team. So I definitely see where you're coming from. He's gonna have to play, be yourself, but be smart. We've seen you be smart before, so yeah. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't really have a different one. Honestly, I was gonna go with Baker Mayfield, so I don't even want to repeat some things that Danny was saying anyway. Because I think what you said basically is the biggest deal. Him being smart and just taking care of the ball enough, but still taking chances. So I think he's gonna be on Baker.
Yeah, and we can stick with you if we want to move on to the Falcons.
Your Falcons. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, your Atlanta Falcons.
And Kirko Chains. Well, I'll tell you what the X factor is not. It's not Kyle Pitts. Because I don't think Kirko Chains thinks he's even on the team. I think he thinks Kyle Pitts is Ray McLeod now. He think they switch numbers. So I think the X factor is going to be that defense, though. Because I think sometimes the defenses look good, and then sometimes look like they're a high school team. So I think more than Kirk, I think the defense. Because, you got Judon for pass rush, but maybe Judon's best days are behind him. Not maybe, obviously. The secondary, name-wise, sounds really good, but sometimes they don't look it. So I think the defense is pretty much going to be the X factor for the team. You can say Kirk all you want, but at the end of the day, they still do have one of my goals, Bijan Robinson, in the backfield. So if it goes bad enough, put him in a wildcat, get Kirk off the field, and figure it out that way. No, but all jokes aside, I think it's going to be the defense, though. Just them playing their best. Because like I said, I've seen them look good and I've seen them look really bad. So I think I'd put the X factor on the defense in that way. The whole defense.
And I would say I'll just take the mic because mine it's the defense, but it's a little more dialed in, specifically on their pass rush, because the secondary's got the names, of course. I know that Falcons fans have had their complaints about Justin Simmons, but Jesse Bates is still really good. AJ Terrell, above average corner.
I like AJ Terrell.
So I don't. Now the thing is why they kind of get some flack sometimes because they have the worst pass rush in the league. Their pass rush, they're dead last in sack percentage, and they're 28th in dropback EPA. They're not getting home. They got, I believe, 5 sacks against the Chargers. Mind-boggling, considering that they have 2 of the best tackles in the NFL. So a lot of that is obviously beating up on the interior, but that's kind of the only game where you really felt the defensive line's presence. So I guess this is kind of one of, if the pass rush doesn't bother showing up, if you make the playoffs, you're going home round 1 because you're most likely going to be matched up against the Vikings, who just tore you to shreds because you couldn't get the Sam Darnold. And then, or you'll have to face the Packers. They'll tear you to shreds if you know how it goes. So not building too much of what you said. It's kind of on the defensive side of things. Danny, did you also have the defense, or were you leaning on something, maybe coaching or offense?
I'm leaning offense. You know why? I have no faith in that defensive line. I don't think they can be an X factor. I don't think they can.
Yes. Okay. That's honestly the route. I was kind of thinking that a little bit.
I have absolutely no faith in the D line to turn it around. So where
it's
I
just
lean
because
in,
I saw it once, so I feel like if y'all could just bring it back one more time, but it is far fetched. I have to agree.
Man, it's not there. It's unfortunate, but it's just not there.
They don't got it.
It sucks. But the way that they win a playoff game and possibly win the division, offense, you have Bijan Robinson, you have Tyler Algier, you have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake London, you have 4 of the best young playmakers in the league. Take advantage of them, use them. That's simple. Doing that, pretty good recipe.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney's cooking. Drake London obviously doing his thing.
Ray McLeod, shout out him.
And they're feeding Bijan lately, I have to say. Giving Bijan a lot of touches. I do like that. That's gonna be need to be established in a playoff game. Not to say Bijan.
Kadero Hodge game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl coming.
Tyler Algier fullback dive to defeat the Chiefs.
And please, more of that. More Tyler Algier, Bijan in the backfield together, please. Please.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of a running back blocking for another running back because a running back's going to know what the running back wants.
Jesus.
So, yeah. Quick intermission. Chris, for dissing DeAndre Hunter on Twitter earlier, he just gave you 24 points. But no other stats, right? Block, and 1 rebound.
But he's on my fantasy team. So the reason I'm really hating on DeAndre Hunter is more so because he sucks, man. And he looks really good this year, but he sucks. He does suck. He doesn't suck more than Mikal Bridges, but he does suck. But he looks good.
Mikal Bridges actually ended up turning his shooting around a little bit tonight. I'm not going to lie, but they're still going to lose the game.
But guess what, y'all? Guess what? Y'all want to know a fact? Y'all want to know a fact? This is not even me making this up. I promise to y'all, this is a fact of life. They looked me dead in my face, all of us in our face, and they told us, hey, Mikal Bridges, you are the main piece in the Kevin Durant trade. A trade for Kevin Durant. Mikal Bridges was the main piece. I do want that to be known.
He had that crazy comeback against the Celtics, I remember, and people were like, what if he just becomes Kevin Durant? I'm like, what if you just used your eyeballs for a second? And you clearly see that this dude is will never touch.
Did Daryl Morey cook for
senior year Oak Hill Kevin Durant? He would bust Mikal Bridges' ass.
Well, he may not even cover.
Please stop.
Kevin Costner. He can't even turn to Kevin Bacon. He can't be Kevin anybody.
Kevin Bacon's crazy.
Did Daryl Morey cook for not trading Maxey for KD?
No, he did not.
Yeah, because I've always kind of. My thing was, at least we're a little bit off topic, but I did just want to get this off. The only reason is with Maxey, I was like, yeah, you could trade him because he'll never be as good as Kevin Durant. Whereas Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant seemed to be on a decline where I was like, okay, maybe Jaylen Brown, as he ascends, could get past where Kevin Durant is at this point. And then Kevin Durant was like, nah, I'm just going to be an ageless wonder, 7-footer. Well, the only thing that can stop me is continuous ankle and calf sprains. So
literally.
Yeah. But moving on, let's go to the NFC East. We have the Eagles and Commanders here. We can start with the Eagles. I'm about to go on.
The floor is yours.
Yeah. So my X factor is Kellen Moore. And this isn't to say Kellen Moore has not called a game all year where I walked out of the game and Kellen Moore, that was a horrendous. He's had plays, don't get me wrong. He's most certainly had plays where I'm like, Kellen Moore, what are you doing? But most of the times I go out of the game like, oh, that was a good called game. But these last 4 specifically, he's given the ball to Saquon a lot. And that's okay. Keep doing that. That is fine. Because the Eagles are by far number 1, especially in the last 4 weeks, number 1 in rush EPA and rush success rate. It's not even close. because Saquon is eating. Kenneth Gainwell is eating on the carries he gets. This line, once they get ramped up, cold weather, arguably the best player in the world behind them, they're going to get things going. But what Kellen Moore needs to do, he needs to stop babying Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts specifically, he does need to make some throws. He does have a little bit more confidence in his arm, no doubt. But how are you supposed to do that when you can't get in a rhythm? He can't hit these deep shots down the field if they're not called enough. The Eagles, especially over this last 4, I believe they're dead last in big boy throws, or you could say explosive plays, which is like 20-plus yards plays through the air. And they're, especially the last 4, they're a middle-of-the-pack team in drop-back EPA, and they're a below-average team in drop-back success rate. So they are not succeeding when they are just straight dropping back and looking to attack a defense. So I just hope in these next 4 weeks and in the playoffs, they can develop a good balance of a deep air attack, because if teams are going to, try to bottle up Saquon, give these 7-man boxes, just remember who your guys are. Okay. Just remember you have arguably the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL. You have a quarterback who loves to throw deep and outside the numbers. Use that to your advantage. If Kellen Moore can start calling a consistent, balanced attack with the pass and the rush, I don't want to say cakewalk to the Super Bowl, but you have a pass to the Chiefs Invitational, just to put it that way. But again, if Kellen Moore were to keep this way and just to keep pounding the rock in the playoffs, that's fine. Just know at some point Jalen's going to have to beat someone in a shootout. And if Jalen is prepared, if Jalen is ready to make those throws, if he's used to making these plays, I don't think any quarterback in the NFC could outgun him. Maybe Jordan Love if he's on an absolute heater, but otherwise, y'all know how I feel about Jalen. So.
Brock Purdy,
he could do it. We'll talk about Niners later, but yeah. Swing the rock. Whoever wants next. Sorry, that was a big spiel, but I don't expect anyone to know more Eagles.
My X-Factor is pretty obvious. He's the MVP candidate right now.
Oh, can the best? I guess the best player can still be the X-Factor. It's just I have yet to see anyone bottle him up, really, though.
The X-Factor is Saquon Barkley, and it's not because, what are the Eagles like? What are the Eagles with him? It's because what his elevation of the game can bring. If Saquon breaks a long playoff run, if he breaks 1 or 2 runs in that game, the game's over. You could be up 7 points. The game's the link's exploding. The game is done. If they're up 7-0 and he just breaks an 80-yard touchdown after making Eagles make a stop, the game is done. Like Paul Pierce said when the Celtics in that series, the game is done. It's like,
dude, we won 1 game, and Paul Pierce said the series is over. I'm like, all right, bro. He was
pretty funny.
Everything.
But yeah, I had to give the reference. But no, I genuinely think if Saquon Barkley can have one of those explosive plays that we've seen so many times in the regular season, it's gonna kill it. It's gonna kill a team. You know how much having the running back that turns a negative 3-yard loss into a 6-yard gain. You know how much that hurts a defense.
I know. We had Bryce Young for a safety, and dude turned.
You put your hands up like this.
Yeah, it drives defensive coordinators insane. And I kind of see, and you know what's funny? I would still see that one as if Saquon can get bottled up, it's not the end of the world. If my X factor works out, if Kellen Moore could call a good passing game plan, we can afford Saquon to have a stinker in the playoffs because this team is still absolutely loaded.
Well, that's what makes the Eagles so dangerous. Is
exactly
what I'll say.
But we can go to Chris for the last X factor of the Philadelphia Eagles. We got Kellen Moore. We got Saquon Barkley. Do you have one in the same, or do you have something else?
I have a player on offense. He's one of the bad boys.
I can't believe it.
Uno.
He's one of the bad boys.
Lane?
Devontae Smith.
Okay, there we go.
Now, the reason I say Devontae Smith is I think, well, this is just my personal on Devontae Smith. I think Devontae Smith is a wide receiver 1. I 100% believe that. And I think on this team, sometimes it gets forgotten about, not because they try to. It's just you got so many number 1 type of players like mouths to feed that I think sometimes he gets forgotten about. And I think the defense even does sometimes too. So I think Devontae Smith can be the X factor because I think he's going to have the most room to. Obviously, people are going to be looking at A.J. Brown because they heard what he said in the media. They're going to blow it up, act like Jalen Hurts is going to just force feed him the ball. I'm sure Devontae Smith's going to have one-on-one. I don't know many corners that could cover him one-on-one. So I'd say Devontae Smith's my X factor for that fact of being the forgotten piece, but can probably be the most important because I think, you kind of know what you're going to get from Saquon, what you want to try to get from Saquon, how many touches you're going to get him. What's up in the air is about, like you said, the passing game and all those other things. But I think Devontae Smith, he's the one I pick because I think he can be the guy that make the big plays when people not really thinking about it, not looking at it, or not really expecting it. I think he can be the guy. So I'd go with Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I love that.
It's not bad, it's not bad at all. I mean,
honestly, if you were to pick any person on the Eagles offense and say they're X factor,
it could be true. You could go with Jalen Hurts. You could go with honestly, I think the only one, if you like the offensive line as a unit, you don't have to worry. They're going to show up. If you had to pick one guy, you'd be like Cam Jurgens and stop running upfield. Like that would be it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Smitty as an X factor a lot because usually a Devontae Smith big game is usually tagged along with a win. I don't think there's been an Eagles game where he had a big game and we've lost. I mean, yeah. Bengals, he is a
playoff
big game
last year.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, too little, too late type of thing. It was like they gave him 2 shots over the middle. He made big plays of them, and they just didn't go back to it. So I guess that is a good example. But we can move on to the Commanders. We can go in reverse order. We start with Chris. Chris, what do you believe the Commanders' X factor is? Whether it's to win a playoff game or go win a Super Bowl, what's going to be the key?
The running backs as a whole, because they run 16 different ones out there. I've seen Brian Robinson, I've seen McNichols, I've seen Austin Fantasy League Eckler. I've seen everyone back there. And I think the consistency from the run game is the X factor for me, because I think to help Jaden Daniels in his first playoff run, I think you're going to need to have a consistent run game just to kind of take a little bit of pressure off him. So I'd give it to the run game to be the most important. I think the defense has been solid enough the year, so I would say them, but I think the X factor is going to be taking pressure off Jaden Daniels to where he doesn't have to be Superman in his first appearance. He doesn't have to go out there and run for 110 and throw for 300 for them to win. So I would throw it onto the running backs.
I like that one a lot. Especially Eckler, a backup running back who can catch, provide at least solid carries when given the ball. Goes a long way.
That's what I'm looking at too. Like even if you have Robinson in the backfield, you put Eckler in the slot where you've been asking for him to be, or just quick screens for him, the easy throws for Jaden Daniels to even get in the groove, when trying to fill out a playoff game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm excited to see Brian Robinson in a cold weather game. It's probably gonna be against the Eagles, but I'm fiending for some playoff Brian Robinson. He's such a tough back. He seems like the type of guy. Hey, it's below 30 degrees out here. That calls for me getting 25 carries.
Like Najee Harris, for sure.
Honestly, yeah. Najee gets better with the weather getting colder. He's a true, and that's Alabama boy. So I don't even know how that happens.
He's from SoCal too.
All he knows. That's all he knows. But he's so Steeler. It's crazy. But Danny, what did you think about the Commanders? What do you think will be the key to them getting some playoff success?
It's simple to me. I trust their offense. What I don't trust, the piece they traded for in going into the trade deadline. Can their cornerback room? Can Lattimore come in and contribute? Can he be good? I don't think he's played a game yet.
Yeah, he hasn't played. They've been real cautious with him.
They've been very cautious. So you have to now have 4 weeks to ramp up your number one corner, where your corner room isn't good right now. Can this guy come in and shut down a receiver? Because if not, if you want to play in the Eagles in round 1, we saw what A.J. Brown has done to them. We saw what Devontae Smith done. You need to be able to stop receivers. You need someone who can go counter punch. Eagles got Queen Mitchell. St. Juice can't stop Calvin Austin.
That's tough.
And I love Calvin Austin. You guys know that. But he can't stop Calvin Austin.
Yeah. Juiced is definitely in the conversation, I think, for like worst starting quarterback.
Even further, he can't stop Mike Williams.
That's real tough. But yeah, I absolutely love the selection and secondary specifically because Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner in big 2024 has been playing well above my expectations at the very least, and the defensive line has done their thing. Payne, Allen, um, so yeah, I really like that pick. I feel like everyone knows exactly where my X Factor is heading. Mine's gonna be Cliff King.
Scary Terry. Really?
No, not Terry. Terry gonna do his thing as long as it's not against Quinn Mitchell. But
I mean, if they play the Eagles in the first round, what do you put up against Quinn? Cardio.
Cardio, yeah, about 60 minutes in cell block Q. Weeks 1 through 8. What do y'all believe the Commanders' EPA per play was in the league?
0.27.
Well, not specifically, more like rank.
Oh, 5.
5. Chris, what do you believe? Where do you think they ranked in EPA from through weeks 1 through 8?
They might be 1, dude. Fuck.
3.
Danny's second guess was right. They were 1. They were first in the NFL. Since week 8, they've dropped all the way to 11th, which is not horrible. That means you're like a middle of the pack, slightly below average playoff team. Playoff team specifically. You're still a really good offense compared to everybody else, but since week 8, they are 11th in EPA per play. And it kind of just builds off the case that Cliff Kingsbury's offenses just seem to take a dip. Closer and closer we get to the playoffs. And then the last time we seen them in a playoff setting, the Cardinals got smoked by the Rams. It was so bad.
Too much dip on his chip.
He got absolutely slaughtered by McVay. It was unbelievable.
That was bad.
So he has to get back to what works. Obviously, Daniels has to get a little bit healthier. But Kingsbury could, if Kingsbury's on his best behavior, the Commanders, I think, could make the NFC Championship. If he is on his best behavior, because they'll be able to shoot it out with anybody. They're capable of putting up points. It's just a matter of how he's going to do. He's going to have, I mean, if you play the Eagles in the first round, you're lined up with Vic Fangio. He's already cooked you once. So he'll get another crack at him. We do play him again. And you're probably going to have to see him a third time. If you lose to the same defensive guy 3 times, you are gone. Like, you're going to get fired. Like, it's so simple. And I would really hope for them to maybe invest in, like, better offensive coordinator.
I'm thinking back. What if the Eagles' true playoff success was due to their home field advantage?
That would be a real good one. That'd be a really good one. Because, like, if we go on the road to Detroit, I think Detroit's favored in that game. Absolutely. Their home field's rocking too. But if they got to come to us, I'm going to take Philly.
And here's the thing.
2 evenly matched teams. Like,
the Eagles' playoff losses the last 3 years have came on the road. Call the Super Bowl a road game.
I guess, yeah. Any field is Mahomes' territory. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, granted, the 2 actual road games were in Tampa, and we just got curb stomped. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, the that could be a big one. That could really be a big one. And then moving on to the final division in the NFC, we have all 4 NFC West teams, since they are all in contention for the playoffs, to be technical.
Let's start with their division lead.
Start with the Seahawks? I can start with the
division lead. And then we'll move down to the 2 playing in the Thursday night football game.
Yeah, that's fine. We can start with the Seahawks, though. Mine's pretty simple for them. Their defense is starting to pick it up. I have confidence that's just going to carry over into June or to January. I'm thinking the NBA Finals. Jeez. Carry over into June. I have confidence in their defense. The Seahawks, their run game needs to continue to look how it did over these last 4 games. Over the last 4, they're 16th in rush EPA. They're 12th in success rate. Before that, they were 30th, and they were 24th in their respective categories. So I think they need to find a really good – I know K9 is their guy. Let's start to find a really good balance between him and Charbonnet. Because there are a few teams where, like, you have one absolute head honcho, and then it's like a running back too. Like even in Detroit, like yeah, Gibbs is the one, but like Montgomery is so good too. They split the carries. That's why they're so efficient. I think they could benefit if they do the same thing with Walker and Charbonnet. Charbonnet had a great outing against Arizona. I thought he was running hard. I'm always going to trust a guy with an elbow pad. So yeah, my thing for them is the pass game has been great. They've really turned some things around. Defense has been great. I think if they can establish a run game, they can go into any stadium. They can bring anybody into Seattle. They can walk out with a win.
Yeah. Chris, you have something, or want me to go?
I think my main X factor for them is just K Walker's health. Honestly, him just being healthy. Because I think I like Charbonnet. Charbonnet is like the Algier. Charbonnet is the Tyler Algier of Bucky Irvins. I don't even know what that means, but I just
really see that written on a sentence to really comprehend it.
See what I'm saying?
But yeah.
I'm ahead of my time. But no, I like both of them. But I think K Walk's health is going to be important. So I think it's going to be important to have that 1-2 punch to be able to switch it up with Charbonnet and K Walk. So I'd say his health, because I pretty much believe in everything else on the Seahawks. So I'd say K Walk's health is probably my biggest X factor.
Yeah, I think that
like
kind of goes hand in hand. That kind of goes hand in hand. So I like that one. Danny, were you sticking same thing with the offense? Maybe
it's on offense.
I
like what McDonald's is doing with their defense. My key X factor is something they've struggled with the last 3 years. It's gotten better this year. Is their offensive line.
Like that.
It's you saw they struggled with the Giants. They actually lost to the Giants because the Giants have a good D line. That's what the Giants do. They have a good interior. They have Brian Burns. They have Azeez Ojulari. They have a good D line for the Giants, and they absolutely dominated the Seahawks. It was early on, granted, give them that, but if their offensive line puts up showings like that in the postseason, there is zero shot Geno Smith can win them a football game.
Yeah, I mean, give Geno time. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league, so I do agree with that. Do want to say, granted, when I was looking at the sack percentage chart, Giants are number one. Sexy Dexy is the real deal. But
Azeez Ojulari is awesome. Brian Burns is Brian Burns.
Brian Burns is like the third best player on the line, and he's still getting after it. So yeah, but I do like the I like the Seahawks O line for that. They've definitely had it rough the past couple of years, but you know if they can put their head down, block for these running backs, give Geno time. It's like the Seahawks ceiling. I don't even know. I like.
Oh my god, the Seahawks ceiling
game. They could
remember what I said last year as my Super Bowl prediction. I thought the Seahawks were going to lose to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game last year.
You had them up there.
Never wrong, just early.
Yeah, we'll see. You know how it goes. Never wrong, just early. And then we want to move on to the Rams or Niners.
So the Rams, the higher rated.
Okay. Chris, who do you believe is the X factor for the Los Angeles Rams?
I think we all got the same one here.
Ooh, maybe we'll see.
Shoot! Now I'm nervous. I don't know who should be my X factor.
I don't think I have the same one as either of you guys. So
I'll tell y'all who mine is though, and y'all should be able to guess it. One of my favorite players on the Rams. That's my boy. That's my guy. And I say Kyron Williams because I think Stafford, Puka, and Cooper, how I say it, I think they're going to be great like they've been. So I think it's going to be on Kyron to kind of take a little bit of load off them because we talked about run games being so important for a lot of these teams we talked about. I think Kyron being able to be consistent, whether it be catching out the backfield or running the ball, I think that's going to be a huge deal for them to just not make them have to throw the ball 50 times in the playoffs, unless they just desperately have to, So I think I throw it on Kyron. Like I said, I got belief in Puka Koopa and Matthew Stafford and Liberty City legend Tutu Atwell. So I think Kyron Williams is probably going to be my pick.
I like that one. He's officially entered the top 5 rushing yards list. So shout out to him. He's really started to pick it up as of late. And I like to see the confidence that McVay has in him. They're going to have to go into some cold territory unless they end up winning the division. But they are also in play for a wild card spot. They are not out the loop yet. The other, yeah.
And one more thing too, y'all. I figured out one thing that I wanted to tell you. I remember last week I asked y'all if Chuba Hubbard and Kyra Williams were just switching jerseys. I have a third person in there. I think they're all the same person. Kyron, Chuba, Chase Brown. All three the same. Same running back.
Nah, Chase is built different.
Okay,
Do
maybe I'm wrong.
you think Chase is better than those two?
I think Chase is.
I mean, you
better
watch. Well,
skill
I
set.
think it's because you watch Chase tear your team up specifically.
No, I
He's
just
still really good. No, he's really good though. He's really.
I
Good.
think Chase's skill set is different. Like I think I said this before. Chase Brown is like the most watered down Saquon Barkley you can get.
Yeah, the one that doesn't have a 405 hang clean.
Yeah,
That's so nuts, dude. Saquon Penn
He's still
State lifting
strong.
videos. Oh, for sure. Well, you can't be an NFL running back weak unless you're Christian McCaffrey, but he only throw him 9 on the 225. I can do more than that.
Nah, he gained weight since when he was in Carolina, like year 3.
He's still a pup. He's still a pup to me. So he's still a pup. Tell him meet me in the A gap. I'll probably get a smooth ran over. But
Nah, you're not getting ran over. You getting mama.
in the A gap, he making me
Yep.
missing a phone booth. Is that crazy?
Yep.
That's crazy. You don't got no faith in me?
No shot. Not Chris McCaffrey.
This the Keenan Allen race thing part 2. Let me just say now, Danny, once you're 100% healthy, you will for sure beat Keenan Allen in a race. At this point, yes. 2 years ago, though, no. Or a year and a half, whatever it is, nah. Not before a couple hammies ago. Danny, what's your X factor for Los Angeles Rams?
Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, this guy, in a year that a lot of Rams fans and probably a lot of NFL media thought the Rams couldn't win anything. Aaron Donald just retired. Cooper Kupp, you just turned 31 or you're aging. You draft a replacement. You draft Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. You draft almost flawlessly. You replace the D-line. And guess what? You're right back into it. The D-line has been fantastic for the Rams. The corner room, not the greatest. Manuel Forbes, welcome to LA, buddy.
Welcome, for sure. For sure.
They said he looked anorexic in his training videos, which is crazy.
Like, dude, he literally looks like something out of a Chichester JV practice. It's ridiculous. He looks so unbelievably uncoordinated. His footwork is so bad. Even at the time, I'm so mind-boggled how that was not Christian Gonzalez with the pick. No way.
I like Forbes as like a late first, not as like a middle.
Forbes was a late first, but he had no business going over ahead of Gonzalez or Porter Jr.
He was a project.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. I'm kind of in the same boat though. I have the Rams secondary. They sit at 27th in dropback success rate and 29th in dropback EPA. But they've had games where they've limited some serious passing attacks. Held Miami to 23 points. That's good in my book. You didn't have the best day against Josh Allen and company, but you're just really lucky you have 2 future Hall of Famers and maybe a third with Puka's trajectory at this point. But I think if they can find a way, I guess it kind of comes back to Jared Verse. If Verse and company can get home, it maybe makes Cam Curl and company's job a little bit easier. But if their defense is going to show up, then you're kind of just relying on Matt Stafford to beat everybody in a shootout. He ain't complaining though. That boy's going to show up. So no complaints there. We can go on over to the other team in this matchup, which is the 49ers.
I'll take the floor here.
Go ahead.
My X Factor is a man that I put 50 players over on the wide receiver list. And it's Deebo Samuel. I might have been a little too harsh on him.
Respect.
For making that. But I say Deebo Samuel's their X Factor because when Deebo gets the ball, he can change things for the Niners. If you get him a screen, he has what I like to say the Saquon Barkley ability. He can, without Christian McCaffrey, he can break a tackle and take it 60 yards to the house. They don't have anybody else outside, maybe George Kittle, but they don't have anybody else on the team that's going to do that right now. And I think Debo has to be there. He has to be the X factor to step up and make plays if they have a chance of doing anything and potentially backdooring the playoffs. I mean, they're not out of the division race. They're also not out of a wild card spot if the Commanders were to fall a few games. So,
yeah, I don't think it's bad. I just want to point out something real quick. This could be the little wokeness in me, but Debo or AJ Brown makes a comment that the pass game needs improvement. Mind you, there's several aspects to the pass game. There's route concepts, there's play calling, there's the quarterback getting the ball out on time, there's blocking. But he says that, and everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go get Jalen Hurts' head." Debo willingly tweets out, "Not struggling, just not getting the ball," and nobody says anything about Brock Purdy. Call what it is. I'm gonna go with racism, but that's just me. Why is Jalen Hurts the headline on every single show when his receiver isn't even going at him? He's going at the coaches. AJ Brown is a known coach getter at this point.
what if Debo's going at the coaches?
What if
That's why I thought Debo was going at. I know he's going at. I know he's going at Purdy.
they both are. Brown and Debo are going at the unit. Yeah. Neither of them are attacking their quarterback, but all I'm saying is that people's first instinct when AJ Brown said it was like, "Oh, let's go team up on Jalen Hurts. Let's go get him." But when Samuel said it, Noah was like, "Oh, Brock Purdy, you should probably start playing better." It makes no sense. That's all I'm saying. But my honestly, because I don't hold Super Bowl aspirations for the Niners, I think getting into the playoffs really just comes down to health. Like, obviously, you're not going to have Ayuk. But if Purdy can just stay healthy for the rest of the year, Kittle can keep in a lineup. Same thing with Purcell. Same thing with Debo. They're going to find it out. I mean, they were probably at their healthiest in weeks last week, and they steamrolled the Bears. It's the Bears. Whatever. But I thought that was a much-needed win. Like, in the style that they destroyed them. Kittle had a big day, which I want to see him have more of because with Christian McCaffrey out, I think he's the best weapon on the team. That includes Debo Samuel. Like, Kittle is such a mismatch everywhere he goes on the field. So, yeah, to me, if they can just be relatively healthy, I don't expect them to win a Super Bowl without McCaffrey and Ayuk. They could be a really bad draw in the first round, though. I've always felt that way about the 49ers, even on their off years. And the 1 year where they had to get a wild card spot, they made it to the NFC Championship game. And they are any other quarterback away from probably winning that game. I mean, when you saw Jimmy Garoppolo trot out there with 2 minutes left, you're like, this thing's over, right? That's just me, though. So we got Debo as an X factor. I think it's the health. Chris, where do you think the keys to a Niners playoff run lies?
Yes, to both of y'all, to what y'all said. Debo and health. Those were my two. And I was in between both, so y'all said them. So I won't repeat anything y'all said, but I think that's going to be most important. I think this team dealt with some of the more detrimental injuries in the NFL this year, just with star players. So I say health and Debo. Those would be my two. Well, one of my two, either one.
Yeah. And then the last team in the division is the Cardinals.
Yeah, I have my X factor. It's the NFL draft. Go start scouting.
It's over.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If we really don't have one I was just gonna say get Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball, but I kind of went on a rant on that last week, so we might as well move on to that time of the episode where we talk about hots and locks. Danny went 2-0 last week, so I think it's only right we give him the first picks of this week's hots and locks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go start with my hot. The Miami Dolphins go into Houston and beat the Texans.
Okay. That would all but like completely revive the Dolphins' playoff chances, by the way.
7-7.
And I was looking at like the Bengals, like
it would knock them out
to get into the playoffs.
It would knock them out.
Yeah, it would effectively put them to rest.
Yeah. So I think the Dolphins win. in
Okay.
a close shootout
And
in
your lock?
Houston. And my lock.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
16-point favorite is crazy.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Can't do.
16-point
Okay.
favorite on the road is ridiculous.
I can't do it. I can't, Chris. Give me the Commanders over the Saints, though.
You're voting against the Eagles locking the East this week. I can't believe you. Eagles win, Commanders loss, clinches them the NFC East, by the way.
Does it?
Yeah.
That's why I said do it. Do it. Do it.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were referring to the Ravens because the Ravens are 16-point like road favorites against the Giants. If you were talking locking the Steelers as dogs is crazy.
U.S. currency on my Ravens in this year. Funny.
Can I bet the under on Justin Tucker? Is that possible?
No, you shouldn't because my boy was in the rain practicing while everybody was inside. My boy was outside getting right.
Putting his life on the line for JV.
Big trust.
But we can move to Chris since he had a better week than I did. So I'll give Chris the opportunity to get the next two picks.
I think luckier would be best. But I will tell y'all this. I'm coming in hot. It's literally piping hot. This is where when Danny, what you left off the last segment goes right into my hot.
Do you think Jameis Winston's beating the Chiefs?
Oh no, not any foolishness like that. I've already tried that game before. It doesn't work against them. I don't even waste my time anymore. But Drake May will beat the Cardinals, and it will legitimately put those playoff hopes to rest, or playoff run hopes to rest.
You still
And Drake May wins Rookie of the Year?
Oh,
hell yeah.
I'll let you step into the kitchen as long as you want. Do what you need to do. All the utensils are there. So yeah, I'm going Drake May over the Cardinals, and that's my hot. And for my lock, there was a couple I was looking at.
You guys are 16-point favorites, man. Like I don't
don't you dare try to trick me into tricking myself. No, I've played that game already. But you know the lock, just because I'm a fan now. Panthers over Cowboys. Lock it in.
Okay. Hey, and you know what's funny? The Panthers are actually favorites in this game. So I had to say rip to the Panthers as my hot take streak. So I think for my lock, I'm sorry, I'm literally salivating. This is a 16-point spread. I have the Ravens over the Giants. Tommy DeVito is going to be playing. So, or no. Yeah, DeVito is going to be playing. So I have the Ravens.
17-14 game loaded. Here it comes. Thanks.
Nah, dude, come on. 16 points is that's pretty ridiculous.
Lamar going to struggle with the D-line, though, I think. I genuinely do think.
Well, old Lamar was.
Most of their pressure comes. Their pressure really comes up from the interior. That's kind of like the last place you really want to pressure him, I guess, because he's just going to bail out. But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But they have the strong edges. Is the problem.
But Lamar's mom talked to him, so that doesn't matter. Edges or Dexter Lawrence.
Got to do what mom says.
Lamar needs to tweet out Johnny.
I asked him
he's got to change it up. He's got to do like Timmy.
No. I don't even know who Johnny is, but whoever Johnny is, whenever he tweets it, he just turns into literally the best player I've ever seen in my life.
He loves those little like riddles that come across like your Twitter or Facebook page. So it was like Johnny has how many siblings? They named the siblings up like who's the fourth sibling? He was like Johnny. So now my hot take is I don't know. I'm not really loving any of these like opposites.
Brooke thinks the Titans are gonna win.
I don't believe so. That would be funny though. Man, this is sound like a lot of good hots here.
The 4 o'clock window in general, though.
You know what? I got a hot take. It's not like really a hot take. They're only 2.5-point dogs. Give me the Bills over the Lions in Detroit.
I was just gonna say
they're
that's
gonna be
I thought you were gonna do the home dogs of the Seattle Seahawks 2.5 points.
Nah, not against those Packers. I'm kind of Packer pilled at the moment. I can't. That's gonna be a good game though. I'm gonna be watching that for sure.
It's a legit
game. Quarterbacks.
This Sunday you'll get Bills, Lions, Bucks, Chargers, Steelers, Eagles at the same time, and then go flip on the TV and see Packers, Seahawks.
Why are there so many games at 4:25? Don't some start at 4:05?
Nah, not this week.
They turned into basketball
crazy.
now. It's putting random numbers after the 4. Like, if we'll put 436 as soon as the game will start.
Yeah, it's kind of
Random
kind of
number
loaded,
generator.
kind of a
Literally.
loaded 425 slate. But
That's
just
so funny,
to
man.
recap what we just talked about, the hot takes. I have the Bills over the Lions with our 2.5 dogs. Danny has the Dolphins over the Texans, and they're 3-point dogs in that one. Chris has the Patriots effectively ending the Cardinals season, and they're 6-point underdogs on the road. As for the locks, I have the Ravens over the Giants, who are 16.5-point road or 16-point road favorites. Daniel has Commanders over the Saints as they are 7.5-point favorites, and then Chris has the Panthers beating the Cowboys at home. They are 3-point favorites.
Did you just call me Daniel on the podcast?
I definitely called you by your government. I probably haven't called him Daniel in like years.
Bro, that's why I'm always
I
on mute.
apologize for that. For that, I'm on a strictly. I'm gonna have to go DC for the next 2 episodes just to make up for that. But
Chris saw
with
my
that
face.
being
He was like,
said,
"What?"
That is, yeah, they're probably like it's not that deep, but it is that deep. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications. You don't want to miss a single upload. And if you're listening to this on audio platforms, leave a like, follow the show, comment if you can, download if you enjoyed the episode, 5-star review, anything to push the algorithm. AP New Freezer, coached by Migos DC Comics. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on Monday.
Here we go.